Hello, everybody. There was a question at Painter Factory about the Artist Oils panel, and it was specifically about the wetness slider and what that does. I tried to explain it in just a paragraph quickly, and when I do that, I tend to think in terms of traditional media, but all of Painter's functions, even though they may act like traditional media, they don't. You can't explain them by using traditional media terms. And wetness is really one of those that is similar to that. So what I'd like to do first is I want to go open up the help menu. Oops. And I'd like to look at what it says about canvas wetness on the Artist Oils panel. It says wetness determines the wetness of the paint on the canvas. This affects how paint from a brushstroke interacts with paint already on the canvas. And viscosity controls the rate of paint transfer to the canvas. The higher the viscosity, the faster the brush runs out of paint, creating shorter brush strokes. Now, that part is important, that the higher the viscosity, meaning it's thicker, then the faster the brush runs out of paint, creating shorter brush strokes. And what's important down here on the canvas is this affects how paint from a brush stroke interacts with paint already on the canvas. Okay? Now, let's go back to here. Okay, so I've taken the acrylics bristle brush, and I am increasing the amount to 100%, increasing the viscosity 100%. I have the blend set at 50. I'm leaving the brush controls the same, and I've moved wetness down to nothing, okay? Now, if I paint on this second layer with Pick Up Underlying Color activated, I get nothing. Remember, it said when the viscosity is up to 100%, you're going to get very short strokes. So that makes sense. But let's move the viscosity down to 0%. I still get short strokes. Why? Because my wetness factor is down to 0, which means this layer is very dry. So I'm going to increase my wetness to, say, 50%. And look, now I get some paint on the canvas. Now, because my blend is up to 50%, and I've got this set to pick up underlying color, the white color of the canvas is coming into effect, and it's blending with that red right away. Take the blend down to 0, and look, now I've got the viscosity set at 0, and it will paint all day long and never stop up here on this layer. But if I switch colors, I'm expecting to get some sort of interaction between these two paints. But I don't really, it's not interacting. And that's because the blend is at 0. So for the wetness to really interact, I've got to have a little blend in there. So we'll put up the blend up to 10%. Now, see, I've got an interaction that's going between the paint. And all I needed to do was have some wetness and a touch of blend. Now, if I bring my wetness down to about 5 or 6%, see, now I'm kind of back to that point where I'm not getting an interaction because the canvas is too dry. If I bring my viscosity up and I bring my wetness up, the wetness is taking the lead here and letting it's not that I get much color, it's that I get the ability for the brush stroke to interact, or the brush to interact with the paint that's already on the canvas. Okay? Now, let's do this. Let's turn that off. We're going to go back to our original setting, wetness at 0, blend at 0, viscosity up, and so forth. When I was up here, remember, I would get just that kind of stroke. Now, let's move down to the canvas. Ta-da! Now, how come with wetness at 0 do I get any kind of movement of paint, anything happening there? If I change color, I still get the same strokes, but I get no interaction of paint. If I bring the blender up to 50, no interaction of paint. So what's the deal? Why can I paint here but not up there with the wetness at 0? Well, the difference is that Painter considers the canvas as filled with wet white paint. So the canvas right now is already wet, which allows the brush to paint, because the canvas is, it's not that the canvas is wet, the canvas is filled with wet white paint. And so this brush of red is going right over that wet white paint. If I add a little bit of wetness, let's just add 10%, change color, now look what happens. See, I begin to get the interaction between the paint that's already on the layer or the canvas and the paint that I'm putting down. If I don't have blend involved, I won't get it, but I have to have blend so it knows how much to interact. The wetter it is, the longer the brush stroke can paint, regardless of the fact that its viscosity is high. Bring the viscosity low, and we really can paint forever and ever and ever. Okay, so what if I add another layer and I turn off the pick up underline color? Okay? Now, if I turn off pick up underline color and I go back to my original setup, which was that, remember, I only got little bitty strokes. Ta-da! But now I don't. I'm getting a much longer amount of stroke. Why? Well, this is a guess on my part. When you turn off pick up underline color, it's like it makes this layer wet. Now, let me get rid of this here. And we'll get rid of this again. All right, so we're on this layer. What it seems like to me is that when I turn off pick up underline color, then this becomes like a canvas in the sense that it has some wetness added to it, so that we get some movement. Because there's no wetness here, remember, that really is about the interaction of the paint with itself, not with itself, but with paint that's already on the canvas. We don't get any interaction. Even if we have our blend up high, we don't get any interaction. But I bring the wetness up to 10% or thereabouts, and now I'm back to being able to interact, provided I have a little blend in there. So what I'm trying to say is that wetness is going to determine in a layer without underlying color picked, it's going to determine how much interaction you get with the pigment on that layer. It will not interact with paint down here. So if I put, say, a blue right here at the bottom, and we come back up to this layer, and I still don't have underlying color picked. If I go over the top of this, see, it's not going to interact with what's beneath, but it will interact with the paint that's on the same layer. All right, so can I recap this in a way? The best way to say it is there are a couple of things to understand. The canvas layer is considered to have wet white paint on it. A transparent layer, if it's set to pick up underlying color, appears to be dry. If it's set to not pick up underlying color, it appears to act similar to the canvas layer in that it is somewhat wet, but it has no pigment on that layer. The viscosity determines how thick the paint is and how much is going to be applied to whatever layer you're on. The wetness determines how much interaction you're going to have, or interaction you're going to have with paint on the same layer or with paint on multiple layers if pick up underlying color is checked. I hope that, I mean, I'm not sure that I told you why in this video, but I'm showing you what happens as you work with the this particular artist oil slider. I hope this helps. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.